Before we get started, University of Texas just lost a young lady today that passed away. Joy Williams was a great player during 79 to 83. I recruited her when I was at Louisiana Tech, and she's from Waco Richfield. If I'm not mistaken, she passed away with ALS. She's married now, has a different name, but when she was at Texas, they never lost a conference game during that run. They won 183 straight, I believe, but just a good, solid five-player that played for them, and hearts are out for her family and also for the University of Texas for losing just a great player during her regime. I did this while I was sitting there doing a stat thing. Give one of those to Ronnie and Cease back there. TV guys don't care about that. But are we relevant on who we're playing in today's top 25? This is what our record is against the top 25 since I've been here or since we went into the SEC. And I think it's pretty good. Only 3 schools that we hadn't played during that time, and that's North Carolina, Oregon State, and Michigan State. And it's either sometimes we don't get them in the NCAA tournament, we don't see them, but I think it says a lot for our program that we're trying to schedule either home and homes or go to neutral court tournaments. And as you see, I only put the Baylor score down from when we beat them in Dallas, and then we lost 3 the next year to them. But I thought it was pretty good that we're playing the right folks. Now, can we continue to do it? We're still trying to find a marquee team for next year to play here at home, and so far we've been struggling. The only one we have coming in is DePaul, and DePaul's nice, but they're not Duke. So we're working on that on the schedule. Playing Texas. We just got finished watching an hour-and-a-half film with my coaching staff up there. We saw a little bit of the game in the Virgin Islands last year, where they were just doing a tremendous job of playing gap defense. And then we watched the breakdown of their games this year, and they're completely more of a veteran team this year on what they're doing. I think by far, I think they will be the best team that we played this year. I think their material, their depth, and what they're doing on offense is just very sound. They use a lot of ball screens. Kelsey Lang, the kid from the Woodlands, might be the most improved post player from high school to college now into her sophomore year. She's had to play a number of minutes because Stafford has been out all year with the same type of surgery on stress fracture that our kid is having in about 1 hour. Shalante Allen, stress fracture on the foot. So she's been out for 3 months, operated on, but she's already working out, and I very much expect her to play against us. So that'll be Atkins, preseason freshman of the year, Duncanville kid, great player, left-handed 2-3 player. Sometimes she even plays a 4. Is as good of a freshman that Texas has had in the last 7 or 8 years. Tremendous player. She missed the last game with her foot in a boot, but I think it was just a sprained ankle, so I guarantee you she will be there. They'll have all their horses. We'll have all our horses, and we're looking forward to a great game. But Texas is for real. My last game at Arkansas was against University of Texas in the second round of the NCAA tournament. We were playing in Cincinnati, and we got beat by, I think, Jackson and Stacy Stevens. That team went on to the Final Four. I think this team potentially is better because of the depth they have, and they have better guard play. Why have they been successful against the Tennessees and the Stanfords and the UCLA is because their guard play is so good. NECA at the 4 position, that's their senior leader. She's just a rebounding machine, plays the game the way it should be. She'll be a first-round draft choice, and she's doing a tremendous job. And then they have Lang at the 5, or if Stafford's ready to go, you pencil in a 6'7" McDonald's All-American. But right now, the job is Lang's because she's earned it and she's playing very well. But what are we going to have to do to win the ball game? By far, play our best game of the year. We cannot get 15 down like we did to Duke and say get into a running game. We could get into a running game with Duke because of our speed and athleticism, whereas Texas has the same thing as us. So what we've got to do is not rely on getting down and thinking you can get back in the game by pressing and running, because that's their style. What we're going to do is pick our times, when to press, pick our times, when to run, and hopefully be able to execute on the half court and defensive end. For us to win the game, we're going to have to win it on the defensive end first. So open it up for questions.
Isn't that where they're going to win it, though, in the defensive end? When you look at their stats, they're all good on defense. Do they win on defense first as well or not?
I think they're going to have to win it, but I think Walker and Atkins, they'll max out each other. I think Williams is the unknown factor. Which Williams will we see? Hopefully she can stay out of foul trouble in this ball game. I think she's playing very well, and we've got to have a Sherry on the boards to match up with NECA a lot. And then which one of my 3-headed center, we could take a vote every day after practice, and it changes every day. But we will use all 3 of them, and we go as Jordan goes. But defense is going to win the ball game for either team.
You do a lot of these big pictures, Gary, so who is 3 versus 4? Like you said, maybe you're overrated, maybe who knows they're overrated. You just never know at this point. But is there one team that the game means more, or is it equally the same?
I think it means more to us because, 1, we're the SEC. We're hosting the Big 12. 2, we got beat last year at the Virgin Islands by them. I think it means more to us because we want to show that we're for real, particularly with this junior class that we have. Yeah, we're developing our post game, but at the same time, I think our guards are as good as anybody in the country. What we've got to do is keep proving it on the national scene. And to do that, you do it when you're playing the Paul, the Dukes, the Texases, the Washingtons, or whatever. You've got to keep doing it every night. And to do it, you need your main group to be able to stay on the floor, not get into foul trouble. And who does it mean more to? Surely it means more to us because I'm coming off of a loss to them last year. And Karen's done an excellent job recruiting, and they've got some junior high commitments already, and I think they're doing a great job. But at the same time, we're doing a great job as well. So let's just give the state of Texas a lot of credit for what Texas, A&M, and Baylor are doing in the state right now, all 3 of us in the top 10 in December. And I think all 3 of us will be in the top 10 come March. Now, you got to sustain. You got to find a way to win. Winning and losing this game is not going to define our season, because last year when we got beat by Texas and Syracuse early, we got better. And Syracuse and Texas didn't have quite the finish that we had with the problems with their teams. So what we want to do is make sure let's go out, throw the whole kitchen sink at this. This will be our final exam, our last final, and it won't be an easy final. This will be microbiology or something like that. And so, but it's going to be fun. We enjoy playing University of Texas in any sport. Now, here's the bad news. I woke up in the middle of the night. I was having a dream. We're playing Texas. We're into the 8th overtime. I don't know who won the game, but all I know, it was the greatest game of the year. But we were in 8 overtimes. And then I finally woke up, went and got a glass of water. I said, I got to change this dream. I'm not sure who won. But we were both down to playing our bench players, but we were in our 8th overtime. But that was my dream last night. Maybe that's why I overslept this morning, because it just wore me out.
Is this the best Texas team you've played since you've been at A&M?
Yes. And there's been some good ones, even during when we won 11 in a row at a time, 13 out of 14. This is the best Texas team because of their depth, their versatility, and what they're doing on offense with their ball screens is very effective. And but this is what it's all about. Correct me, Maestro. Is this the first time that a number 3 and a number 4 team from Texas A&M has played, top 4 teams playing?
This is the first time top 4 teams have played in a game involving Texas A&M.
Regular season. Even when we won
Regular season and postseason.
Right. Because we were not number 4 when we won the whole thing. And then we didn't start the year as number 4. So that's something y'all can spin off. But now, how about in other sports?
Definitely lacrosse sports.
Okay. You guys know, has it happened before?
What were we ranked going into Alabama last year?
Not sure. Now, it'd be something good, but this is what A&M's all about. This is what we're trying to do, is to play the competition, whether it's neutral sites, and hopefully in years to come, Texas and A&M will have a home-and-home series in basketball, and I'm sure we will have it in women's basketball quicker than we will have it in football. And because I think both Karen and I both want that.
You talked to her about that? Trying to do it?
A little bit in the Virgin Islands last year. But right now, you've got to survey the land, and you just got to do it in tournament situation, and we're doing what's best for the game right now by at least playing. And that's what you have to do. It'd be like Notre Dame leaving Connecticut's league like they did last year and not playing. Are you going to blame Notre Dame because they went to the ACC, or Notre Dame is going to keep playing Connecticut, which they're doing? We need to do the same thing, and I'm sure that's the way it is in a lot of other leagues, because I think eventually you might end up with 4 16-team leagues within 5 years. We never know.
How many of their players did you recruit seriously on the Texas roster? Did you recruit those girls seriously?
Atkins, Lang, a little bit of Breonna Taylor for the kid from Decaney, Brooks McCarty, who's been on our campus a number of times, not Rodrigo. NECA had already committed. She was in their backyard, and we really didn't. We would have recruited NECA, but she committed way early in the process. You got their roster with you right there? Not Sanders. That's a shooter.
Just wondered.
It's a little bit. Those were the main ones, and a lot of our kids have all played against each other during summer ball, and particularly the Texas kids. The Jones kid, I was very interested in, the kid out of Beaumont-Ozen, but at the time that she got out, we didn't need that position, or that might have been the second coming of Daniel Adams, but she's only 5'9.5", but the kid can play. The kid can play, and so, but at the time she came out, we were loaded at that spot.
Besides the state bragging rights, is this game kind of personal because you are representing the SEC and going up against the Big 12?
I think it is. I think when you have Oklahoma, Arkansas right after it, you got a nationwide TV audience. We got ESPN's top crew coming in doing the game. We've got all the attention. What we do not have is enough fans that are going to be at the ball game. Arkansas's men played the night before, so we're hoping a number of their fans will stay over and watch the game. We've reached out to the A&M clubs, as I'm sure as well as Texas has done to theirs and everything like that. The price of tickets is like an NCAA ball game. It's $18 a ticket, so that's a little high. We're trying to find out also on home, if we're the home team and Arkansas is the home team, can we have high school student athletes come in and be on the recruiting list? A lot of these things are still evolving right now, but we need the publicity. We need to be on all the radio stations right now, Drive Time Sports, Wally Hall, and Randy Rainwater and all of those, and hopefully we'll be able to get on this week to try to build up the interest. Next year when we go to Oklahoma City, I'm sure the same thing will happen, and OU will sit there and they're trying to get it done as well. But this is a lead up to our conference tournament, and this is what we're trying to do. But we need the corporations to step aboard in Little Rock and buy some tickets and give to their employees.
Are you drawing any playing a big name team, top 5 team away from home, not necessarily at a road venue, but when you play the teams like Tennessee and Kentucky on the road this year in conference, will you draw back on this experience at all, you think?
Sure I will. We can draw back, particularly like when you play Kentucky with all their great guards, when you play Tennessee with their post players that run the floor. What Texas does so well is their transition offense is as good as anybody in the country because their post players fly. And that's just very important. That's one of the things that beat us last year in the Virgin Islands. We couldn't get Carla back on defense to be effective. And Lang was just consistently running at us. But it wasn't just Carla. It was a lot of our others sucking air and not getting back. But we'll build off this game. This is what you play November and December for. We'll be able to watch this film for the next 3 months. Just like I'm still watching the Texas game of last year, seeing what we did well, what we didn't do well. When you look at our stats right now, our first 6 players are all shooting over 46%. How could has this ever happened on any team? Our 3-headed post player, one is shooting 73%, the other one's shooting 56%, and the other one's shooting 50%. Now, they've got other weaknesses in their game, so the 5 spot hadn't hurt us at all. 29 points, 14 rebounds, and only 1 turnover in the last game. But that was Houston, that's not Texas. If I could have 20 and 10 from that 5 spot every game, I'd do cartwheels all the way to my next hamburger at lunch. But we have to have some consistency. Can we score at the 5 position when we start playing the top 10 teams? We struggled with that last year against Connecticut. We struggled a little bit when we played South Carolina, scoring at the 5 position. We've got to be able to do it now.
What about playing someone like this? You mentioned in the series maybe one day you'll play Baylor, but also at the end this could be, you mentioned last year Texas wasn't that good, but come down to NCAA seeding for this region, if you guys are both close, you and Texas, they might determine who gets the higher seed.
Mhm.
because of who wins this game, which doesn't happen if you play a Duke necessarily or a DePaul.
Well, the difference is, though, on sub-regionals, they're not, say, if Texas, Baylor, and A&M all get it. It's not like it used to be. They want to spread it out because we're all three in that area. This year's top 16 seeds regardless. So you could have 4 teams from Texas, and that's what we're all trying to get. We're trying to get in that top 16 to make sure.
As far as number 1 seed or number 2 seed.
Right. Well, you're playing for it right now, because I see Baylor and Texas definitely playing to see who wins the Big 12. And I look at Kentucky, us, South Carolina, and Tennessee. On paper, we should all be competing for it in the SEC, but paper doesn't win all the time. Doesn't keep people in jobs all the time either, does it? What else do you might have?
How soon's the NCAA gonna, when you guys in the top 5 or 10, you have to wait right till the end before you can start promoting for your top 16 team? Or I'll let you jump the gun if you're Connecticut or Stanford?
I think the top 8 teams will be notified before their conference tournament. And I'm going to say those top 8 teams can start at least taking money for it. That would be smart if they would do that to build up. And it just doesn't make sense, because a conference tournament, if you're in the top 8, is not going to knock you to number 17 because you get beat in the first round. You'll still be in the top 16 depending on where your RPI is and everything like that. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I just want to play well, take the chips, and figure out who won that 8th overtime, because I'm not sure who won it. But I just want to play well and continue getting better. And we took our loss last year, and we got better. And I'd like to take a win and get better. I'm better at that than I am at losing.
Gary, do you get a sense from your team that there's a little bit more pep in their step, maybe knowing they're going against the in-state rival and players that they've known for a long time?
We were just discussing that. Last year we just had we struggled in our first game against Memphis over there, and then we played Texas, and because they were seeded 5th in the tournament due to how they finished the year previous to that, we didn't overlook them. We didn't rise to the occasion. Texas rose to the occasion just like we used to do when we were starting to build that 11-game winning streak, because Texas didn't get up for us those first couple of games. And all of a sudden we came away with the wins and everything, and then all of a sudden we started having a rivalry again. Well, to have a rivalry, you got to have both teams win. And I look forward to the game. I'm sure Billy looked forward to the Baylor game the other night. I think it's good for basketball. It's good for fan interest.
Are you guys going to try to petition for a medical red shirt for Swante, or is that
You bet. That has to go through the process, but she hadn't played in too many games, and she's having surgery in an hour. And she'll be ready to go. Have 2 good years left in her. Similar to the surgery that Mariniki had when she was here. They had to put a rod in her leg. And later on in pro ball, she took that rod out after it had been in there a few years. But it's the same injury that, as far as I know, that Coach Starkey told me that the Stafford kid had at University of Texas.